After the launch of 6.1, which revitalised PvP alongside reworking all the jobs, I set out to create a series with the goal of breaking down the skill sets and demonstrating how classes play, in hopes to inspire more players to play PvP, as well as to help them find the classes that they want to play. And now, for my new series, I want to create the advanced guides. Throughout these guides, I will talk about each class, their strengths and weaknesses, skill rotations, which maps they are best suited for, and how you battle against that very same class, with the hopes of helping you all find your main, as well as help give you the knowledge needed to climb through the crystalline conflict ranks. And to kick off the advanced series, I'm starting with my boy, the Dragoon. When it comes to Final Fantasy XIV, you have 3 roles: the healer, tank, and DPS, with the Dragoon falling under the DPS category. The Dragoon is one of 5 melee DPS, with the Dragoon being the strongest single target burst damaging class with a devastating AoE based ultimate, whereas the Monk best focuses on sustained combat with single targets with an ultimate used for fast picks or kill cleanups. The Ninja holds the strongest AoE of the 5 melee classes, alongside being extremely hard to kill with access to double stuns. Samurais play the long game, looking for the moment where a victory can be decided thanks to the ultimate's capability to one-shot multiple targets. And the Reaper, while it struggles as it currently is, with an aggressive team it can be a hard time for your enemies to gain any ground against you. Next, map rotations. For those of you looking to climb the competitive ladder, the single best map for Dragoon is Cloud 9. Open areas making target acquisition easy, and a very nice environmental a Dragoon can easily exploit. For those unaware, multiple times throughout the match on Cloud 9, you will see a turbulence warning. This warning comes with a countdown timer, at the end of which any player not using either guard or standing in a black chocobo feather will be launched up into the sky before crashing down, taking huge damage. The Dragoon can exploit this by popping their ult just as the turbulence timer ends, to clean up kills on those unfortunate enough to be sent flying. Palistria, another amazing map for the Dragoon. This time no environmental is present, and with the introduction of speed lanes, the Dragoon on this map has all the space he needs to utilise his kit to the best of his abilities, and pull off some crazy flanks on unsuspecting players. And thirdly for comp, we have the Volcanic Heart map. This map is my favourite by far, but not great for the Dragoon, as constant line of sight issues will occur. The small size of the map oftentimes won't allow for Dragoon to maximise the burst damage of his Whirlwind Thrust attack, and can often struggle to chase more agile classes, such as the Dancer, who reigns supreme on this map. For frontline, Dragoons can perform amazingly well with little issue on both Seal Rock and Fields of Glory, both maps having large open areas, allowing the Dragoon to either create the opening or dive onto a player who is out of position. And with objectives that really pile players up, you will never be short on moments to deal some devastating damage with your ultimate. Also in rotation are Borderland Ruins and Ansel Haker. The Dragoon can perform very well on these maps. However, with Borderland Ruins comes more risk of CC and being knocked off the cliff when heading up to do the objective, so good awareness of those around you is key on this map. And with Ansel Haker, while the map itself is very nice, the map designed for the centre arena, which consists of 3 ramps raised up to a platform, will often cause issues for the Dragoon. You can very easily find yourself diving to a target, only to find yourself underneath the platform, due to the target moving and how high jump works. And even pulling off an elusive jump can be a struggle with the platform size. Again, awareness with this map will allow you to dominate just as much as any other. Strengths. When it comes to the Dragoon, your high burst and dive capability gives you an advantage over every other range class. Bard, Black Mage, Dancer, Machinist, Red Mage, Summoner, Sage, White Mage, Astro, and the Scholar. Within Crystalline Conflict, there is no change to resistances, as with the frontline, therefore allowing the Dragoon to punish any of the jobs out of position, or for simply not paying attention. One downside for the Dragoon is that you yourself are not granted a CC skill, whereas almost every other range class does. Diving in without a plan, or without being aware of which job has done which CC skill, can very quickly turn your advantage into a free kill for your enemies. For you new players, you're best to exercise restraint, play slow, look for an opening, and try to keep track of which target has used what CC. For example, if you see a teammate turn into an imp, you will then know their white mage is an easier target. Turning your attention to them with high burst will often cause them to panic or use their ultimate for a quick stun and run. Or let's say they have a bard, and you have just been hit with silence, you will then know the only thing they have left in their kit is bind. Bait this out with aggression. Once bound, you can use the Dragoon's elusive jump to break free and close the gap on a target that can no longer flee from you. The best advice I can give you to improve on any class, not just Dragoon, is to try out every other job. Knowing what other classes can do will give you such a high advantage over others, and you can use this knowledge to bully specific jobs and bait out actions. This alone will be enough for anyone looking to climb out of the bronze, silver and gold ranks. Weaknesses. The Dragoon is pretty much a perfect job, but if I had to rank its number one weakness, that would be player greed. Getting thirsty for kills and being cocky is the main weaknesses I have seen from many Dragoon players. Never overcommit for a kill. Oftentimes dealing damage and forcing a player to retreat is enough to give your team the advantage. Many Dragoons get cocky and they get baited into a situation they cannot escape. And when it comes to the other melee classes and the tanks, it's important you don't overcommit fighting any one target, as melee and tanks can self-sustain or escape very well. And take care when using high jump, as oftentimes jumping into the enemy places you as target number one. So be ready to guard and spare yourself being stun locked till death. And finally, be wary when using the skill Gear Skullghoul, as this turns the Dragoon into a double-edged sword, allowing you to deal 25% more damage, but at the same time you will receive 25% more damage. If you made it this far into the video, you are probably wondering what the Dragoon's burst combo is. And don't worry, I will demonstrate this to you now. To begin, you want to use the elusive jump to proc your Whirlwind Thrust. Then strike the target with Gear Skullghoul to increase your damage by 25%. Instantly follow it with Whirlwind Thrust. The further away you are from your target, the higher the damage, up to 20,000. Dive your target with high jump. Then you have the option of either Heaven's Thrust or Chaotic Spring, with Chaotic Spring healing you. At this point, most targets will be below the 50% health mark, and you want to use Nastrond for its bonus damage. And lastly, my tips on how to battle against Dragoons. If you see a Dragoon backflip, this means their strongest skill besides their ult is primed. This usually leaves you with one of three options. Firstly, breaking line of sight to avoid being targeted. Close the gap as fast as you can. The closer you are, the less damage you shall receive. Or by popping guard, but I would not recommend this, as players will usually dive the target as their guard breaks. As you start combat with a Dragoon, be ready to heal a lot through their opening burst damage, or by even popping shields if your class has them. Be aggressive. Most Dragoons will hit hard and fast, so meet them on equal terms. Classes such as Ninja and Monk will outlast Dragoons thanks to their kit. The Dragoon shines during its burst stage. After their burst window is done, they have downtime waiting for cooldowns. Take full advantage of this to deal some serious damage of your own. And finally, just as with any class, weakening them and then following up with CC to increase your advantage will further often lead to Dragoons panicking and messing up, or being forced to retreat if they can. One final piece of advice. In my opinion, the best way to learn a PvP class is with Frontline. Many will cry and argue it's not comp and cry casual player. However, the scale of battles and how messy fights are in Frontline will quickly help you develop an understanding for what you should and should not do in PvP. And before I end today's video, I will leave you all with an Onsel Hacker match showing off the joy of the Dragoon. A big thank you for clicking on today's videos and welcome to all my new subscribers. I shall see you all in the next one.